Hi, physics. Mr. Janowski here. This is Chapter 13, Homework 1, Problem 4. And this is basically just getting more practice in using the EE function, enter exponent, on a scientific or graphing calculator. Because to do problems like this, you really have to do it that way. So let me show you what's going on here. So we have Alice. She's got a mass of 55 kilograms. She's standing on the surface of the Earth. What is the force of gravitational attraction between her and the Earth? To simplify this, assume that the entire mass of the Earth is concentrated at its center. Well, that's actually exactly how you do the problem, is you make that assumption. Um, so, as always, step what are we looking for? What is the force of gravitational attraction? Force, gravity. So we want F sub big G between Alice and the Earth. So that's question mark, and it's going to come in units of newtons because it's a force. So we have a formula for this. F sub big G is equal to big G times mass 1, so let's make that mass of Alice, times mass 2, let's make that the mass of the Earth, and divided by the distance between them squared. All right, so as a little aside, the distance between them, all right, well, here's the Earth. Here's Alice standing on the Earth. So the distance between them, when you're dealing with a sphere, you pretend like all of the mass of the sphere is right at the center. So the distance between them is the radius of the Earth. So on this chart, the radius of the Earth, okay, Earth, the radius of the thing is here. This other number over here, that is the radius of the Earth's orbit around the sun, but we don't need that one for this. So yeah, the radius we're going to use, the distance we're going to use is the radius of the Earth. So here we go. F sub G is equal to big G. All right, we have a number for that. 6.67 times 10 to the minus 11th. And then it's got units, but I'm going to be lazy and leave off these units because these units are annoying. The mass of Alice, 55 kilograms. Those units aren't so bad, so I'll include those. Times the mass of the Earth. Okay, well, the mass of the Earth on this chart, Earth, mass of the Earth, it's a big number. 5.97 times 10 to the 24th. So yeah, you definitely have to use scientific notation when you're doing problems like this. 5.97 times 10 to the 24th kilograms. And all of this is divided by the distance between these two masses squared. Well, that's the radius of the Earth, and that is the 6.38 times 10 to the 6th number. So 6.38 times 10 to the 6th meters, and that number gets squared. All right, so if we can do this in the calculator, we'll have the answer. The trick is, how do you do it in the calculator? So it takes a little bit of practice and good calculatormanship to be able to do this. So we'll start with the 6.67 times 10 to the minus 11th. So the first part is easy. 6.67. Okay, now how do we do times 10 to the minus 11? Don't multiply by 10 and then raise 10 to the power. In theory, that would work, but it's so much more button pressing that you're going to end up making a lot of mistakes doing it that way. So you really just need to bite the bullet and learn how to use the EE function. So EE, that is enter exponent. What that means is scientific notation, like 10 to the whatever power. All right, so on one of these TI-84 calculators, to do the enter exponent function, you have to hit two buttons. First, you hit the second button. So second, and then you hit the EE function. It's this little guy in blue. It's actually the comma button, the one right above the 7. So that's what it is. That gets you EE on one of these guys. Now, the reason I always praise the little TI-36X Pro is because that calculator has a dedicated button for EE. I don't have to hit second to get to my EE button. My calculator just has an EE button. If you're doing a lot of these problems, which I did as a physics major, you'll use that button so many times that it actually makes a difference. The fact that you can do it in one button rather than two. But anyhow, yeah, we got that far. 6.67 second, comma. That gets you to EE. Then we need minus 11. So you've got to hit, like the negative button, not the subtraction button. your calculator will throw you a syntax error if you use the negative button. I'm sorry, if you use the minus button. So what I'm saying is don't use that button that I just X'd out. Use the one down here at the bottom. And then you hit 11. Okay, so that little bit there, that accomplishes this bit. So now we have to multiply this by 55.0. So multiplication button, just that guy. 55.0. And then we've got to multiply by 5.97 times 10 to the 24th. So another multiplication thing. And then 5.97. And then I have to hit second again. And then I have to hit the comma button. And then 24. So this isn't negative 24. This is just 24. So you do all that. So if you do all of these buttons, that gets the numerator done. Now you can hit enter at this point. That's fine, and just get the number for the whole numerator if you want, or you can just keep going. So from here, we have to divide by this thing on the bottom squared. All right. So the next thing you would hit, whether you hit enter or not, it actually isn't going to matter. Hit the divide by button. That one, of course. And then it's 6.38. And we need enter exponent 6. So once again, if you're playing along at home, second, comma, 6. And then remember, this thing needs to get squared. So time to use the x squared button. Now I'm getting the habit of using that one. Now, strangely, it seems a little bit strange. If you do that on the calculator, the display on the calculator, it's going to look like it's taking 6.38 times 10 to the 6 squared power. It looks like it's only squaring the 6, but it is actually squaring the whole thing. So let me put this in the calculator. 6.67 e minus 11 times 55.0 times 5.97 EE 24 divided by 6.38 EE6 x squared. And then you hit enter. And my calculator says 538.0485, et cetera, et cetera. Let's just call it 538. And what units does this have? Well, it's a force. This is newtons. So this is equal to F sub G. So yeah, that's how you do it. If you learn scientific notation and how to do it in the calculator, perhaps you've taken chemistry already and you learned it there, or you learned it somewhere else. This video would have been pretty dull. But if you haven't learned it, really do it this way. Do enter exponent. None of this multiplying by 10 and raising it to the power. It's too many buttons you've got to hit. You'll make, too many typos doing it that way. And also it brings up a whole order of operations thing. It makes it way harder to do it if you're trying to just multiply by 10 and then raise it to the power, which on this calculator, I don't even know where it is. It's there somewhere. I guess it would be this button. But yeah, you're not doing it that way. Do it this way. Learn the EE button. So there it is. Hopefully that helps.